So hello everybody and welcome to this second instalment of XTV in Conversation With, and today we are with Chay Snowdon. So I'm joined with Tazmin. Tazmin, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm a first year student at Exeter University and I'll be joining Lily today for the interview.
Perfect.
Hello, I'm Chay Snowdon and I'm here to be interviewed.
Exactly. So Chay, if for people that haven't heard of you before, how would you describe your music?
We always sort of say like indie rock, indie pop, that sort of thing. We always try and sort of make it so, you know, people could have a dance if they want, or you can just sit back and listen to the lyrics. So yeah, we sort of say indie rock, indie pop, that sort of thing.
Lovely, completely. No, I think indie rock is, definitely one of my favorite styles, if not, I would say most people's favorite styles of our age. It's, how can you not, especially when it's got a bit of a bop. That's all you want. So out of all of your songs then, because I've seen you've got quite a few, which is your absolute favorite song that you've ever made?
Wow.
What a question.
My favorite one I've ever made. It's a tricky one because I always think it's the one that I've just written, and then I look back and I think, no, it wasn't. Probably one I'm most proud of would be Men Cry 2 that we released in 2019.
What an amazing song.
Yeah, just the message behind it and everything. That's one of my favorites. Yeah, I love performing it as well. So
I think that was my favorite original that I listened to, and I love the music video for it too on your YouTube channel.
Oh, thank you.
So obviously you guys have a lot of original material. Who's the main songwriter of the band, and what would you say your songwriting process is like?
Yeah, so I'm the main songwriter. I sort of I always start with the title, to be honest. If I've heard someone say something, or sometimes it's even as simple as I've heard it on TV, I always start with the title, and then that seems to form a sort of chorus, which was typically how I would sort of write a song, was from the chorus outwards. But lately I've been trying something a little bit different to probably start from the beginning and work my way through with the verses. And then I'd sort of just take it to the lads after that and say, look, this is what I'm sort of thinking, maybe you could try this on guitar or give that a go. And then they just make it way better, because most of the time, especially when it comes to the drums, I don't know what I'm talking about. I usually sort of say, oh, you just got to sound it out, haven't you? And then he's like, yeah, I think I know what you mean, mate.
That's really interesting, because I don't think I've ever interviewed a band that says that they've tried this approach of starting with the title and then almost working backwards. That's really interesting. Do you find that that's easier than starting with, say, a chorus, or sort of working outwards?
No, it's definitely harder. It's definitely harder sometimes, I find. But what I don't want to do is, I found for a while I was trying to keep, right to the same structure, verse, chorus, bridge, and then sort of do it that way. And everything sort of started to feel quite stagnant, and that's what I didn't like. And since sort of trying to change it up and write differently, I found that, I'm finding different ways to write stuff, even down to being able to phrase stuff in a different way. I've just sort of changing it up in the writing process has really helped that. And I think it's what's sort of helping to shape our sound going forward,
Definitely. And what a brilliant way to sort of exactly that, and make sure that what you're doing is so different. I really like that. I think that's really impressive. I know that I couldn't do it, and I do an English degree, so if I can't write, what can I do? So that's really interesting. So obviously at the moment we're in the middle of a pandemic, not great for all of the arts, but how has lockdown affected your music, the band's music? Have you managed to sort of get around that and still manage to say, I've seen that you've done quite a few things in lockdown. Would you like to sort of talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, it's been a bit of a weird one, really, because our main thing was always to perform live and everything like that. So not being able to do that was a bit of a shock to the system, but it has sort of brought out this, I suppose, more musical side to us, that we're sort of delving deeper into all the songs we've got. any new ones we've all been rehearsing online and everything like that. We found a really cool sort of way to be able to do that.
I love your cover of Blossoms, If You Think This Is Real Life. I thought that was amazing.
Oh yeah.
I loved how it was, just because I remember seeing Blossoms' version and thinking, wow, what an amazing, innovative way to do that and still make sure that you can still make music together. And I love that you did that as well.
Yeah, that was quite an easy decision to do that one as well, because just before the lockdown, I went to see Blossoms, and that was the last gig I saw. And we met them, so that was really cool. And I just thought, it'd be really cool to do one of their tunes, and
lovely.
Yeah, so I thought, send it over to them. See what they thought.
How did you find the filming of it? Was it a bit more complicated than you thought it would be, or did it all slot together?
Yeah. Perfectly? Well, we'd done a couple before that of our own tunes, and that one was the one that kind of it seemed to come together a little bit more. So we were sort of in a bit of a groove with it then, and they kept getting a bit more refined. But I am not the most technical minded person by any stretch of the imagination. Definitely not. So it was a bit of a learning curve for myself, but we got there in the end.
Yeah, I think all major artists have really learned to utilize their online fan bases, especially their social media platforms now, to interact and engage with their audience, even though they can't see them or host concerts and gigs and everything. So obviously you guys have performed at lots of gigs, lots of festivals. When we could perform live, what was your favorite part about, festival life and performing live in front of a crowd?
I think it's got to be especially festivals, it's got to be the feedback you get, because if you stay for the weekend, you just soak up the atmosphere, and especially if you play on the first night, we love it when we play on the first night, because you can just relax for the rest of it, and you walk around and you bump into people and they're like, oh, we saw your set, we really like it, and then you interact with those people a little bit further. So yeah, that's probably the sort of just the interaction that, well, again, in particular with festivals, you just wouldn't get at other gigs.
Do you have a favorite gig that you've ever performed at?
Probably I always go between two or three.
Very difficult question.
It is probably got to be the first time we sold out our hometown, I would say.
Wow.
Yeah, that is probably that, because it was one of the first real times we've experienced people singing along to the whole time, and we came off at the end of it and we were like, okay, so this is really how it feels to be a band, if you know what I mean. So it's probably got to be that one. Yeah. And
hearing people sing your own lyrics,
which is really handy, because I forget them a lot, so it's quite handy. Yeah.
Do you find that an issue sometimes?
Not even sometimes, all the time. Every gig, I can guarantee you I'll forget a line of a song. I probably shouldn't say this, it's Always Famous as well, which is like the first single we released. So we've been playing that song for years, and it's always that song.
I appreciate your honesty.
I don't know what, yeah.
You heard it here first, folks, expose.
Yeah, too right.
Would you say, so talking about that sounds amazing. I'd never even considered that from the festival point of view. That must be amazing to play a festival, and then just bumping into random people. Oh, I loved your set, wow, thank you, that must be amazing. What would you say then is like your absolute career highlights, absolute top?
Ooh, it would be between Steve Lamacq playing our singles, which was crazy, because we didn't even it is probably Steve Lamacq playing our singles, definitely.
Yeah,
because the first time round, which was Men Cry 2, was the first one he played of ours. I didn't even know. My friend just texted me and said, Steve Lamacq's just played your song, and we were like, whoa.
Wow.
Like, I didn't believe him. Yeah, and then went to check, and I was like, oh yeah, he has. And he's been a supporter ever since of all our stuffies. So yeah, it's got to be that, really.
I also saw your BBC introducing in the West live session.
Yeah.
Which was super impressive. And I was just going to ask about, obviously we've talked about interacting with your fan base and using live shows as a as a channel to do that. But how have you been able to grow your fan base and share your music? What do you think been the most influential thing that you've done to help that?
Yeah, that definitely helped. That was a cool experience, the BBC introducing one.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably say, in terms of a live crowd, would be when if I had to pin down one particular gig, actually, it would definitely be when we played the bonfire night in Plymouth. That was we've never played a gig. Well, we've done it 3 years in a row now.
Wow.
And they sort of estimate that we've had around 10,000 people watch every year.
That's
so
amazing.
That's probably, that was the one. I mean, the first time we did it, I was so nervous. I hadn't felt that nervous in a long time. So it's probably that, and it's nice with ones like that as well, because it's completely open air and everything. Anyone can come. So, you know, when we play in some venues and stuff, there's an age restriction, and maybe some of the younger people who are listening to the music wouldn't be able to come. So, yeah, it's probably that got us out there a lot. And then just the radio coverage, I would say, probably the BBC Six stuff again. The BBC Six stuff is funny, actually, because I've got a thing on my computer where I can see like how many people have Shazammed you from one show. Mm-hmm. And I went on it afterwards, and there was this huge spike after we were on that show, and I was like, oh, that's class.
Amazing. God, that's so cool.
Yeah, it was cool. I was like, look at this. I sent it over to the lads. They couldn't believe it.
So would you say, you were talking then about playing at Plymouth, would you say you prefer playing at home where you know you've got sort of family and friends, or do you quite like playing at somewhere you've never been before, say, I don't know, or playing in London or Manchester, Leeds?
Yeah, I mean, we always love playing in Plymouth, because we sort of, well, Plymouth and Bristol, we would sort of class them as our basis, and probably Birmingham now as well, because two of the lads are from Birmingham. But we love playing in different places just to see different parts of the country and that, you know. And you never know who you're going to pick up, because sometimes people comment on your stuff and you think, oh yeah, I remember meeting them at such and such a place. And I'd probably say now I prefer playing in different parts of the country, just to see what the vibe is, and people react differently. You know, the further up country you go, the more people really like go for it at a gig. That's for sure.
That's
yeah, definitely.
So how long ago did you guys start the like festival circuit around the country? Because obviously you've traveled quite a lot.
Yeah, probably about 3 years ago for festivals properly. I've probably been doing it about 6 years now. Cool. But the festival circuit, I would say, was a good 3 years ago. Nice. It's got to be about that, I reckon. Definitely.
Yeah. And did you, obviously you went to BIM Bristol, did you form your band there? Is that where you met your bandmates?
No, actually it was in sixth form at school.
Wow.
We've had a few different lineups now, just, I think it's that age, isn't it? People want to go off and do different stuff, so it makes it tricky, but it's always been me and the bass player George. So we met at school, and then I went to uni, and then I met Jack, the lead guitarist, who was at the same uni as myself. And then he introduced us to Luke, the drummer, who was at BIM Birmingham. So we've kind of got, like, between the four of us, we've got a good part of the country covered, at least up to the Midlands.
Hopefully we should be coming out of lockdown soon. Do you have any plans for in the next year about what you're going to be doing next, if everything's hopefully back to normal?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely want to go on a tour. That is top of the list, 100%. We've got the EP coming out. We've had 2 singles out off of the EP so far. So that'll come out. The rest of that will probably come out in the new year, or the full EP. And we were also supposed to be playing a show, like, I don't know, was it next month? I think it might have been next month. No, was it this month? No, it was supposed to be this month. and then that's had to be postponed till February. So we've got a few things in the pipeline already, but a tour that's number one, definitely. That's what we really want to do.
Would you ever consider doing, like a lot of artists are doing right now? I think Julipa's doing one. People like Gracie, they're doing online, online exclusive gigs.
Yeah.
Would you guys ever consider live streaming, or even doing like a Facebook Live or something for the people that are at home to watch?
Yeah, definitely. It's all become a little bit trickier lately, though, especially with Facebook Live, because Facebook, I can't remember the ins and outs of it, but they don't want artists to be doing it or something.
They're changing their copyright regulations.
Yeah.
Makes it a lot tougher.
Yeah.
Definitely. Which is crazy to me, but yeah, if we could sort of work out the logistics of how we could do it and get a good enough sound, then yeah, we'd definitely be up for doing it. I think Blossoms are doing one, actually, saying that as well.
I know Glass Animals did one not too long ago, which was amazing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, that would be cool.
In terms of your musical influences as a band and just individually, who would you say are like the artists that influence you most?
I've got a real variety. I mean, the person who got me into music was Elvis Presley, hands down. So I would always say him. And then definitely. And then it would sort of have to be like the Amazons, Catfish and the Bottlemen, people like that, you know.
Cool.
And then even sort of more modern things as well. You know, we're sort of trying to really listen to the charts lately and sort of gauge what's going on there. And so, yeah, even down to like Post Malone, you know, people like that. Yeah, Lana Del Rey. There's loads of different people. But I would sort of say that not for the sound as a whole, but we sort of take little bits of each one and sort of class that as an inspiration, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I'm sure listening to a wide variety and a range of artists does really affect your songwriting and even like your creativity, like visuals, videos and everything too. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, that's why we do it as well, because you might get, you know, lyrics from or a lyric style from Lana Del Rey, but you take, you know, a bass line from Charlie Puth or something like that. You know, that's just the way we try and do it.
No,
but,
exactly.
Well, not that we steal stuff.
No. But no, well, that sounds like the best way to make sure that you're not, you know, too restricted in what you find inspiration from. There's no, you know, I think looking at what is popular and just listening to it, understanding it, finding out why it's popular is, you know, the making of a good artist, really.
I agree. Yeah.
All right, so let's end things there. Thank you very much for joining us today. I hope the internet hasn't been too crazy.
No, it's all good.
But yeah, thank you very much for joining us, and thank you as well, Tazmin, for being here. So it was lovely to speak to you both. Have a lovely rest of your year, and I hope you both have a lovely Christmas.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.